In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a cool tree like this one. It's actually more simple than you think, and this should be able to be done in around 10 minutes. Anyway, I don't normally say this before I start a video, however, I would really appreciate it if you would leave a like and subscribe. We're really close to 700 subscribers, and it does mean a lot, and the rate this channel is growing right now really is good. Let's keep it going. But anyway, let's get started. So if you don't know how to use Blender, I would suggest watching my beginner basics tutorial. I will link in the description. However, I'll try and cover as much of the basic stuff as possible. Like, for example, if you want to move, press down your scroll wheel and you can kind of like rotate around. Anyway, we're going to try and get this started here, and to start we're going to make the trunk. So to make the trunk, you're going to do Shift A, add mesh, and add a cube. Now we're going to press tab to go into edit mode, and then we're going to go and just kind of like select all these top vertices. So you press one and then hold shift and then press the others, and then do G to move, Z to move it up, and then press S to scale. Now I want to move this up a bit higher, and the way I'm zooming out is just scrolling back. You can scroll forward to zoom in and scroll back to zoom out. And yeah, I'm just going to move this up a bit, and that should be good. There we go. I'm just going to do a simple trunk like this. This trunk you can do more with, however, this will do. And we're going to just press the little I button next to it here in the scenes collection to hide it. And now what we want to do is we want to start with the leaves. The leaves are the only complicated part here, and they're not even complicated. So to do this, you basically want to do Shift A to add a mesh, and we're going to add a plane. Make sure your 3D cursor is in the middle, so everything spawns in the middle. Now you're going to do Shift D to duplicate, and then right click, and it'll duplicate it and put it right in the middle. And then you want to do R, Y, 90, and this will rotate it 90 degrees on the Y axis. Now you're going to duplicate this one with Shift D again, right click, and then R, Z, 90. And basically what you have here is you have this kind of like cool shape, and now just basically highlight it all, click on one of them, and then do Control J. This will merge them all into one. Now what you want to do is you want to import a sphere. This sphere isn't actually going to be a part of the model. This is just to make it easier. So if I had a UV sphere here, make it a bit bigger, something. So if you got this plane thing, something like that. And now what we're going to do is we are going to do duplicate with this thing. I'm going to leave one in the middle. I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to get this one in the middle, and I'm just going to save it by hiding it. So we've got one saved there, but we shouldn't need it. So what you want to do is basically just move this plane somewhere on the edge. You want to move this somewhere around the edge of the sphere, and then press R once to rotate, and press it again, and it'll kind of rotate it freely on all axes. Just do something random, left click to confirm, and then do Shift D again, and just move it to somewhere else around the edge of this sphere. You can change the scale from leaf to leaf. However, I wouldn't suggest having too much of a drastic change, like something like this. You want to keep it very similar, and then every time you place one, press R twice, and then randomize it, and there we go. You want to do this now over the entire sphere, so that it's somewhat not noticeable. However, you don't want too many, as the more you have, the worse it is for optimization. However, these trees aren't actually all that bad for optimization. They shouldn't hinder your Roblox game much at all, and they look really good. As you can see here, I can kind of just keep adding more and more. You can do as many or as few as you would like, but I would personally try and have just about enough to cover the entire thing. Okay, and now we are done with this. You want to try and find your sphere. You can always just look in here on the like collection thing and just delete it. You just delete that sphere, and as you'll see now, you basically won't be able to see through it, and if you can, it's not a big deal. That should be it good. So we're going to highlight everything, and we're going to do Control J. If it doesn't work, just select a random one, do Control J. As you'll see, the leaves are looking good. This is literally it. You now want to export this, and to export it, the way I usually do it, so I'll go up here and just call this thing leaf. I typoed that. And I'm also going to unhide the trunk, and I'm going to call this one trunk. And as you can see now, I've got these named. Make sure you save your file and you know where you save it. Mine's just saved in my downloads because it's easy. And then you want to go to the scripting tab here, click templates, Python, batch export, and then just click the play button. And what this does is it just exports all these things to your file. Wherever you've saved your Blender file, these things are now exported there with the names they have in your collection. So now what we're going to do is we are going to import these to Roblox Studio. I'm just going to use mesh parts here because I don't want to have to publish this game. So as you see here, I've got a mesh part. To add a mesh part, you just go to workspace, click on it and type mesh part. And I've got one here. I'm going to do Control D and duplicate it. And then we're going to go into the properties. And where it says mesh ID, just click the little folder. And then I'm going to choose whichever one I want. I'll do the trunk first. So as you see, I've got my trunk here. And then we're going to check the other one and we'll get the leaves in. And now that these are imported, you will kind of see how they'll come together. By the way, do not worry if you can't, you can kind of see through it. Just come to properties here and do double-sided and it will fix the problem. And again, don't worry that it looks weird right now. We are going to do the whole leaf thing now. So for the trunk, you can just, I'm going to scale these down quickly as well because that is probably an important part to do. Just go something like that. You can always go here to avatar, rig builder and block rig, and you can just get one for size reference. So you might want your trunk to be something like that, and the leaves you probably want something like that. So they are good now. And for the trunk, I'm just going to go here, add a wood material. I kind of like how the wood looks, and we are going to make it brown. So like that, and then lower that darkness. There we go. So now we're going to make the leaves. For the leaves, you are going to need an external software like Photoshop, Photopea, or Paint.net. However, do not worry if you can't use these or don't want to, because I'm going to be linking in the description my Discord server, and in my Discord server you'll be able to go to the resources channel and find this leaf texture. But I'm going to show you how you can make your own here. So I'm just going to delete this base layer and add a new layer. Delete this base one so it's just alpha in the background, and then on this layer I'm going to paint in green. So we'll go to a green color over here, something like this, and then we'll press B to go into the paintbrush. You want a hard brush. And you basically want to just draw some leaf shapes. Just go here, different shapes and sizes. I'm going to draw some little leaves. Should look pretty cool. Make sure none of them touch the edges because you want this to just, work. You'll have like weird looking edges if you have them right too close to the edges. We're going to go something like this. There we go. And now you want to just do G to go into the paint bucket tool, fill them all in. And unfortunately with Photoshop, if you just use the paintbrush, it won't fill perfectly. So you can just kind of like draw around the edges. I'm a bit of a rookie with Photoshop, to be honest. There is probably a way to fix the paint bucket tool, like to change the tolerance, but I don't use Photoshop too much. However, if you've got something looking like this, it should work. And now what you want to do is you want to save that to your files. This is the image I'll be putting on my Discord server for you guys to download. But you know what? I am going to quickly go here and I am going to soften the edges. You can just blur them, but I'm going to use an outer glow here. I'm going to change the color to the actual leaf color. And then if I change the opacity up, I can kind of start to create this this kind of glowy, blurry look here. I think that should be good. So I'm going to save this to my files and post this on my Discord server. Also, make sure you do it as a PNG because PNGs are the only ones that preserve the alpha. And now hop over back into Studio, click on the leaf mesh, and then come down to Texture ID. This part's a little more complicated if this isn't published. Usually you can just click on the texture ID and upload an image. However, you're going to have to do it through Roblox if you haven't got the game published. And now what you want to do is you want to go to the decal page. To do this, you just want to click on the create button at the top of your Roblox, and then you should be able to just go to the decals tab. And now it says find your images, click choose file, and then select your leaf texture. I'm going to upload it now. And as you see, when it uploads, it should appear in your decals library. So you want to click on it here, click on where it says leaf texture, and then go to the URL on here and just double click on the little code thing. This code is the ID for this decal. You want to do Control C. Now you want to come over to Roblox Studio, click on your mesh, click the little plus button, and you want to add a surface appearance thing. Now click on surface appearance, go to color map and paste in this ID. So if I paste this ID into the color map, as you will see, we have this kind of like cool little green thing. However, it might not look good. There is a reason for that. We can fix this easily by going to the alpha mode and change it from overlay to transparent. And that will now add transparency pass through to your leaves. And as you see, this is what we wanted. And now to finish off, you want to get these leaves and kind of like you can warp them a bit if you want. And then you can put them on your tree. And there we go. So you can just basically move these around and move them to different areas, scale them in different directions if you want to kind of increase and decrease it in areas. And as you can see over here, this tree that I actually did a more complicated trunk. So if I move this over here, you can kind of see I just added a few more bits, but you can even do that with this. You can literally go and move these out of the way, and you can just go and rotate these. Go rotate, rotate, rotate. Then we can just go and move it into wherever we want. So if we want to move it here, and then with this, just do. We can add more branches. This is really simple if you want to just add more without having to do it in Blender. However, I would suggest doing it in Blender. There are many ways you can make branches. You can literally just go and use squares, but you'll see here, I'll do one more. Basically, with these branches, we could do cool stuff now. So you just go basically add on here more leaves. I'll just delete that one. And you can just start filling this thing up. You can experiment with different colored leaves and all that kind of thing to get it however you want it to look. I think it looks good. You have to really play with the settings to get yours looking like this one. Like, for example, you can go in the mesh settings and you can change the material. So you change the material to something like neon. You'll find it'll actually have less reflections and it passes through better. Or I'm pretty sure there's a few other better ones. Like if you actually use force field, you have this whole cool look where it all together just looks different. And it just, yeah, it's about playing around with these settings. Lighting will also play a big part. And yeah, it's up to you now to see what you could do with this method. I really hope you found this helpful. Again, if you did, leave a like and subscribe. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video.